You're listening to the Peace with Anxiety podcast. I am your host, Irene Evangelou, anxiety counselor and clinical hypnotherapist. I'll be coming to you every week to share actionable tips, simple strategies, and useful resources to help you break free from high-functioning anxiety. We'll be covering how to recognize and understand your anxiety, strategies to change your thoughts and feelings, and ways to implement long-lasting change. If you're trying to overcome people-pleasing behaviors, navigate anxiety, living in self-doubt, or something else keeping you stuck, then you are in the right place. I know that you're ready to get to the next level of your life, feeling free, calm, confident, and in control. So let's get started. Hello and welcome back to episode 13 of the Peace with Anxiety podcast. In today's episode, we are going to get a little technical and nerdy. We will dive into what happens inside your brain when you experience anxiety. Now, if you're wondering, why should we bother exploring the inner workings of our brains when it comes to anxiety? Well, let me share a personal story that might shed some light on this question. Now, almost 10 years ago, as I was first starting my education in the field of psychology, I also found myself struggling with overwhelming anxiety. Now, it was a time of a massive change in my life then, and it seemed like every little decision, every minor inconvenience would send my heart racing and my mind spiraling with worry. Simple tasks like going to my classes, calling someone on the phone, or attending social gatherings felt daunting, and that constant knot in my stomach became all too familiar. In my journey to find relief, and luckily, I was already in the best field possible to help me get some answers. I threw myself into my studies and my books, and I quickly became fascinated by the world of neuroscience and its implications for understanding anxiety. And what I discovered completely changed my perspective. Learning about the intricate relationships between brain regions and the process of neuroplasticity helped me make sense of why my body and mind were reacting the way they did. But more importantly, this knowledge empowered me to take action and relieve some of that anxiety. So with that deeper understanding of the underlying mechanism driving my anxiety, I began to explore different strategies and techniques to manage it effectively. From mindfulness practices to dialectical-behavioural therapy, each step forward felt like reclaiming a piece of myself from anxiety. So why am I sharing this with you? Well, because I believe that understanding the neuroscience of anxiety, so what exactly happens in your head when you feel anxious, is a powerful tool that is not only empowering and transformative, but it will also help you take back control of your mind and alleviate the anxiety. So today we will explore the brain regions and the process of neuroplasticity that shape our experience of anxiety. And then I will share with you some of the practical strategies and techniques that help me and help my clients navigate anxiety in this new life. Are you tired of the relentless battle with anxiety? Are you ready to calm your mind, embrace peace, and reclaim your life? Then I've got just the right thing for you. Join my free 21-day Relieving Anxiety Meditation Challenge by clicking the link below in the show notes. So I'm excited to dive deep into this topic with you. But before we begin, I want to take a moment to explain what exactly we're dealing with when we talk about anxiety. And you can learn more about it if you go back to episodes 1 and 2. But anxiety is something that we all experienced at some point or another. It's that knot in your stomach before a big event, or the racing thoughts that keep you up at night. In its essence, anxiety is our body's natural response to stress, a built-in alarm system that helps us anticipate and respond to potential threats. But here's the thing. While a little bit of anxiety can be perfectly normal and even helpful in certain situations, too much of it can create a mess on our mental and physical well-being. And look, we are living in a fast-paced world where we are constantly bombarded with deadlines, expectations, and uncertainties. So it's no wonder that anxiety has become so increasingly prevalent. According to recent studies, anxiety is among the most common mental health conditions all over the world, affecting millions of people of all ages and backgrounds. And the impact? Well, it's not just limited to our minds. Prolonged or excessive anxiety can take a toll on our bodies as well, contributing to issues like insomnia, digestive problems, and even cardiovascular disease. So, in other words, anxiety isn't just a fleeting feeling. It's a powerful force that can shape our lives in profound ways. But the good news is that by understanding the nature of anxiety and its effects on our brains and bodies, we can begin to take proactive steps towards building our resilience more effectively. And that's exactly what we're here to explore in this episode. So whether you are struggling with anxiety yourself, or you're simply curious about how our brains respond to stress and anxiety, stick around as we discover the science behind the sensation. So let's dive in. We will start with the brain as a whole to understand the secrets behind the anxiety response. So picture your brain as a complex control center, constantly processing information and arranging responses to the world around you. Your brain is a remarkable organ that includes countless interconnected regions, each with its specialized function. So when it comes to anxiety, several key players come into play, but for the purpose of this episode, we will focus on 3 in particular: the amygdala, the prefrontal cortex, and the hippocampus. So first up, we have the amygdala, and it's often described as the brain's fear center. This tiny almond-shaped structure, which is located deep inside the limbic system, plays a crucial role in our response to perceived threats. Think of the amygdala as your brain's bodyguard, constantly scanning the environment for signs of danger. When it detects a potential threat, like a loud noise, an intimidating gesture, or even a negative thought, it springs into action, triggering the body's fight or flight response. And in milliseconds, the amygdala sends signals to the rest of the brain and body, unleashing a cascade of physiological changes designed to help you survive. Your heart rate increases, your muscles tense, and your senses sharpen as adrenaline rushes through your veins, preparing you to either confront the threat head-on, so fight, or make a swift escape, flight. But here's where things can get tricky. For some, this process of threat detection and response can become dysregulated. So the amygdala may become hyperactive, sounding the alarm at the slightest hint of danger and flooding the brain and body with stress hormones even when the threat is minimal or non-existent. And this heightened sensitivity to perceived threats can lead to a vicious cycle of anxiety, where even daily situations provoke intense fear responses. So when you understand the role of the amygdala in anxiety, you can begin to realize that even excessive reactions to everyday situations will slowly start to make sense. But here's the interesting part. While the amygdala may be the first to sound the alarm, it's not the only player in the game. That's when the prefrontal cortex comes in, which is the brain's command center, and plays a pivotal role in decision making, emotion regulation, and impulse control. The prefrontal cortex is located just behind your forehead, and it acts as the voice of reason. It is like the wise mediator who steps in to offer perspective and guidance when emotions run high. Through a process that's known as top-down regulation, the prefrontal cortex evaluates the situations, weighs the risk and rewards, and determines the most appropriate course of action. And it's this interplay between the amygdala and the prefrontal cortex that allows us to navigate the complexities of life with a measure of calm and self-control. However, in some, these regulatory mechanisms may become compromised. The prefrontal cortex may struggle to exert control over the hyperactive amygdala, leading to difficulties in managing emotions and making irrational decisions in the face of fear. By understanding the interplay between the prefrontal cortex and the amygdala, you can start to understand the cognitive and emotional processes underlying anxiety. But there is one more key player in anxiety we need to mention, and that is the hippocampus. The hippocampus can be found deep within the brain's temporal lobes. This seahorse-shaped structure plays a crucial role in memory and learning. In the context of anxiety, the hippocampus helps to contextualize our experiences of anxiety and fear, drawing on past events and stored memories to make sense of the present and determine the most appropriate course of action. So imagine the hippocampus as the librarian of your brain, cataloging your core life events to create a coherent narrative, your memories. In the context of anxiety now, the hippocampus plays a crucial role in contextualizing fear responses. It helps to distinguish between genuine threats and false alarms, allowing you to respond more effectively to the challenges you face. For those who struggle with anxiety, the hippocampus may struggle to accurately assess the level of threat posed by a given situation, leading to an overgeneralization of fear responses. So together, these three brain regions, form a complex network that shapes our experience of anxiety, influencing everything from our initial reactions to our long-term coping strategies. So it is important to understand their roles and interactions because we can gain invaluable insights into how our brains respond to stress and anxiety. Now, finally, let's touch upon very briefly upon the concept of neuroplasticity, which very simply, it's the brain's remarkable ability to adapt and rewire itself in response to experiences and interventions. So imagine your brain as a constantly evolving landscape, shaped by the pathways you tread and the habits you cultivate. Through experiences like therapy and mindfulness, to name a few, you can literally reshape the structure and function of the brain, forging new connections and strengthening existing ones. When we're talking about anxiety, neuroplasticity offers hope and opportunity for transformation. By engaging in targeted interventions that promote neuroplasticity, such as dialectical-behavioural therapy, cognitive behavioural therapy, or mindfulness meditation, you can retrain your brain to respond better to stress and anxiety. But here's the truly exciting part. Neuroplasticity isn't just limited to therapy session or meditation practices. Everyday activities like learning a new skill, practicing gratitude, or engaging in regular exercise can also promote neuroplasticity and support your journey towards greater resilience and well-being. You can literally reshape and rewire your brain. You can leave behind the patterns of anxiety and cultivate resilience and growth and confidence. Now that we've gained a deeper understanding of the neuroscience of anxiety, let's explore some practical strategies for relieving it effectively. So, based on the latest research in neuroscience and psychology, here are 6 tools and techniques that promote brain health and resilience. The first is, of course, mindfulness meditation. It is a powerful tool for reducing anxiety and promoting emotional well-being. By bringing focused attention to the present moment, mindfulness practices help to quiet the chatter of the mind and cultivate a sense of calm, clarity, and control. Neuroscience research suggests that mindfulness meditations help to calm the overactive amygdala and promote greater emotional regulation. So techniques such as mindfulness breathing, body scans, and loving kindness meditations have been shown to reduce anxiety symptoms and improve overall mental health. Second, dialectical-behavioural therapy. This type of therapy offers a comprehensive approach to relieving anxiety by combining cognitive behavioral techniques with mindfulness-based strategies. So skills such as emotion regulation, distress tolerance, and interpersonal effectiveness, they can equip you with practical tools to navigate those difficult emotions and challenging situations. By learning to identify and challenge maladaptive thought patterns, you can cultivate again greater resilience and reduce anxiety-related distress. The third is regular exercise and physical activity. which are not just good for your body, they're also great for your brain. Physical activity has been shown to reduce symptoms of anxiety and depression by increasing the production of endorphins, the brain's natural feel-good chemicals. Additionally, exercise promotes neuroplasticity and stimulates the growth of new brain cells, particularly in regions involved in emotional regulation and stress resilience. Now, fourth, simple lifestyle adjustments can also play a significant role in relieving anxiety. So, prioritizing adequate sleep, maintaining a balanced diet, and avoiding excessive caffeine and alcohol consumption can help support optimal brain function and emotional well-being. Now, research suggests that sleep deprivation and poor dietary habits can increase anxiety symptoms by disrupting neurotransmitter balance and impairing cognitive function. Another tip is using stress management techniques. So, learning to manage stress effectively is key to preventing and alleviating anxiety. Techniques such as deep breathing exercises, progressive muscle relaxation, and guided imagery can help activate the body's relaxation response and counteract the physiological effects of stress and anxiety. These practices can modulate activity in the amygdala and also promote greater connectivity between brain regions involved in emotional regulation. Finally, do not underestimate the power of social support in times of anxiety. Building and maintaining strong social connections can provide a buffer against anxiety and promote feelings of security and belonging. When you engage in meaningful social interactions, it stimulates the release of oxytocin, a hormone that fosters trust and bonding, and activates brain regions associated with reward and pleasure. Alright, so these 6 practical strategies and techniques can create a solid foundation for relieving anxiety in your daily life and can also promote brain health and resilience. It's important to say now, though, that the purpose of all the tips, tools, and strategies is not to eliminate anxiety altogether, but to learn to navigate it with courage and compassion. With time, patience, and practice, you will be able to take back control from the anxiety and cultivate a greater sense of calm, confidence, and control in your life. Okay, so you made it to the end of the episode. Well done. Just to summarize, throughout this episode, we've talked about the role of the key brain regions related to anxiety, like the amygdala, the prefrontal cortex, and the hippocampus. But perhaps most importantly, we've explored practical strategies for relieving anxiety based on neuroplasticity. From mindfulness meditations and dialectical-behavioural therapy to exercise, healthy lifestyle habits, and stress management techniques, we've talked about a wealth of tools and techniques that can help you promote your brain health and resilience in the face of anxiety. So as we come to the end of this episode, I want to emphasize the importance of seeking professional help if you find yourself struggling with anxiety. Yes, self-help strategies can be incredibly beneficial, but there is no substitute for guidance and support from a trained mental health professional who can provide personalized treatment and support. So I encourage you to apply the insights gained from this episode to your own life, experimenting with different techniques and approaches to see what works best for you. And remember that you are not alone. Reach out to friends, family, or mental health professionals for support if you need it. And if you have any feedback or questions or need my support, you can click the link below in the show notes and book a free anxiety relief call with me, where we can discuss in depth about how I can help you. Okay, so thank you so much for listening. Until next time, take care and be kind to yourself. Thank you for listening to the Peace with Anxiety podcast. If you found any value in today, I would really appreciate if you would leave me a review and share this episode on your Instagram story, tagging me at Irene, the anxiety therapist. Also, make sure you subscribe to this podcast so you don't miss an episode. All the links are found below in the show notes. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode.